factorizing quadratic expressions. Now look at the first quadratic expression. This is 2x squared plus 6x plus 4. Now in algebra, before you factorize, the first step is you have to bring the common value out from a bracket. So what you do here, you bring 2, which is common for 2, 6 and 4 out from the bracket, and within brackets you write down x squared plus 3x plus 2. Now the 2 you write as it is. You write x squared as it is, and as we did before, 3x we will split into two numbers, that is 2x plus 1x. When you add, you will get 3x, as well as 2 times 1. When you multiply, you will get this 2. So the condition is satisfied. We write down plus 2. You write 2 as it is. You take the first two numbers, you bring x out. Within brackets you have x plus 2. You take the next two numbers, you bring plus 1 out. Within brackets you have x plus 2. Now x plus 2 is common. You are left with x plus 1. So it's 2, the value that you brought out from the bracket. First factor is x plus 2 and the next factor is x plus 1. Coming to the next example. In that, 3x squared minus 30x minus 33. We know 3 is common. You bring it out. Within brackets you have x squared minus 10x minus 11. So 3 as it is, you just write downwards to the final answer. But x squared minus 10x minus 11, this part, you will work out as you learnt in the previous video. What do? You take this minus 10. You split minus 10 into two numbers. When you add, you will get minus 10. When you multiply, you will get minus 11. So we have 3 within brackets x squared minus 11x plus 1x minus 11. You can see minus 11 and plus 1 gives you this minus 10. Minus 11 times plus 1 is minus 11. Now you take the first two numbers, you bring x out as a common number. You have x minus 11. Then the next two numbers, you bring plus 1 out. Then we have x minus 11. Now we have x minus 11 as the common factor, and we are left with x plus 1. And I told you the 3, the common value which you brought out from the bracket at the beginning, you had to write as it is. Next one, 3x squared minus 6x minus 9. So what is the first step? You have to bring the common value 3 out from a bracket. So once you bring it out from a bracket, you have x squared minus 2x minus 3. Out of the first two numbers, you bring x out. So we have x minus 3. Out of the next two numbers, you bring plus 1 out. We have x minus 3. So we have x minus 3, a common factor. X plus 1, the other factor. And I told you the value, the common value that you brought out from the bracket at the beginning, you can write it as it is. Next question. 5x squared minus 10x minus 40. Common value 5. I bring it out from the brackets. So we have x squared minus 2x minus 8. You take the first two numbers. You can bring x out from the bracket and we have x minus 4. You take the next two numbers. We take plus 2 out from the bracket and we have x minus 4. So 5 is common and x minus 4 is one factor. X plus 2 is the other factor. In this sum, 3x squared plus 5x plus 2, you are going to split 5 into two numbers where when you add you will get 5, but when you multiply you have to get 3 times 2, which is 6. You add and get 5, you multiply and get 6. It's not as before only 2. Now you have to multiply the constant with the quadratic coefficient and that answer is 6. So when you multiply you have to get 6. So what I did, I split 5x as minus 1x plus 5x. But you can clearly see when I multiply 6 by minus 1, the answer is going to be, when you multiply, it's going to be minus 6. Also you can see you cannot factorize it correctly. That means the factors that you have picked is wrong. You cannot split 5x as minus 1x plus 6x. Then you are going to split it as what? 2x and 3x. So look at this sum. We can split it 3x squared. 5x, I will split it as 2x and 3x, where 2 plus 3 becomes 5. And 2 times 3, it should be what? It should be 6 plus 2. As usual, we pick the first two numbers. We bring the common factor x out. So we have 3x plus 2. Then we don't have any common value to bring out. Therefore, you bring 1 out. So we have 3x plus 2. So the common factor is 3x plus 2. And the other factor is x plus 1. Nextly, 2x squared plus x minus 10. Now what are we going to do? We have to add and take plus 1, multiply and take minus 20. So you have to add and take plus 1 and multiply and take minus 20. So we are going to pick minus 4x plus 5x. Minus 4x plus 5x gives you plus 1. Minus 4 times 5 gives you minus 20. Out of the first two terms, we will bring 2x out. We have x minus 2 in brackets. Next two terms, we will bring 5 out. We have x minus 2. So, one bracket is 2x minus 1. Other bracket is 2x plus 5. Next example. 2x squared minus 5x plus 2. So we are going to add and take minus 5, multiply and take plus 4. 2 times 2, 4. So we are going to pick minus 4 times minus 1, which is plus 4, minus 4 plus minus 1, which is minus 5. So you pick the first two terms, bring 2x out from the bracket. Then we have x minus 2. Then we will bring a minus 1 out. So we have x minus 2. So x minus 2 is the first common bracket. And we have 2x minus 1 as the other bracket. 6x squared minus 5x minus 21. So 6 times minus 21 is minus 126. So we have to find and see the factors of 126, which by adding you can get a 5. So you can see I have given you all the factors below here. Only 9 and 14 you can fix for a 5. So I am going to fix it as minus 14x plus 9x. Minus 14x plus 9x gives you minus 5, while minus 14 times plus 9 gives you minus 126. Thereafter, as you know, you pick the first two terms, then you pick the next two terms, you bring the common values out. So you have 3x minus 7 and 2x. In this sum, you have to add and take 7. When you multiply, you have to get a 6. Next sum, you have to add and take 13. When you multiply, you have to get a 12. You have to add and get minus 30. You multiply, you get 200. And the last one is for you. You have to add and take 17, multiply and get 30. I have not shown you the workings, but I have given you the factors. So you can try more questions in factorizing quadratic expressions.